Good evening. I'm going to try and speak loud enough from here so that I can use the slide projector at the same time. If anyone has a difficulty hearing me, just shout out and I'll try and speak up a little bit louder. Utility rates were last raised for the water and the sewer in 2010, took effect the 1st of January of 2011. The stormwater rate has not changed since the beginning of 2009. When we projected our budgets for this year, we had to look at where the rates were and what capital improvement projects we had going forward to make some estimates. But we looked back at what the projects were that we've completed over the last year and a half. The pH monitoring station out at the well site is finally completed. This was an important part of the water system, which enables us to make sure that we're adjusting the pH system in the water correctly so that we can reduce corrosion in people's household plumbing. We still have a lot of AC mains in town that need to be replaced. We've got a low-interest loan from Public Works Trust Fund to pay for upgrades of the water mains on both Valentine and Stewart, and those projects will start construction this year. But we do have to pay those loans back, so we have to make sure we have enough revenue in the system to make sure we can make those loan payments in return. We have some meter upgrades that need to be made, and we have a lot of hydrant repairs throughout the system that needs to be done. The other thing we take into consideration when we're looking at our water rates is our requirement to encourage conservation. The proposed rate structure has very minor adjustments. The base rate has not increased from the last rate that we set, and I believe the first this goes to show the revenues that we have for 2012 and 2013, our expenditures, and you'll see that fund balance is increasing, but we need that, as I said, to make some of these capital improvements that we have programmed. Some water conservation tips, those are also available on Channel 21, or you can look at our website and those are available. The water rate structure is currently $12 for your regular household, and we're proposing to leave it at that. The first tier of the water rates, which is 700 cubic feet of water, is $2 per 100 cubic feet. And we're proposing to leave that the same. What that means is those people generally with a smaller household will see no increase in their water rate. It'll stay the same as it has been for the last 3 years. Last 3 years. Those who start to move up in the rate system will see a slight increase as you get into the second tier. We went from $2.75 per 100 cubic feet to $3 per 100 cubic feet. And then in the third tier, it went from $3.50 to $4. As I said, most households will see minimum change. The average household in Pacific uses about 7.6 hundred cubic feet, or it's difficult to
7.6 units.
7.6 units. That's a great way of putting it. So,
what is the unit?
A unit is 100 cubic feet, or 748 gallons.
So 748 gallons per meter reading.
You have 700 cubic feet included that is in that first tier.
Okay.
So, and that's 7 times 748 gallons. So if let me see, if I do my math quickly, it's about 22,000 gallons if I've done, no, 2,250 gallons if I've done my math correctly. Trying to do it in my head.
Excuse me, if we could save our questions till the end, get
So,
to the business. Thank you.
You're not seeing a large increase in the water rate. It's just a small rate, and again, primarily to encourage conservation. So the average rate for a residential household is $26.60. It was $26.60 last year. It would go to $26.90 if you're one of those households that uses up into the second tier. If you don't get into that second tier of water consumption, you will see no change in your rate. The commercial rate is going up a little bit more, but based upon the average amount of customer usage. Some water customers in the commercial class really don't use that much water, so they won't see an increase at all. Others use more, so they will see more because it's, again, it's that encouragement of conservation as required by the Department of Health and the Department of Ecology. The sanitary sewer rate, Metro is increasing its charge to the city from $36.10 to $39.79. The city has 4 pump stations we have to operate, and we've got a manhole sealing program that we need to do to try and reduce how much water is going into the system, which will then reduce wear and tear on our pump stations. So those are a couple of major considerations that we want to look at in improvements. But I'm not sure how much of that we're going to do, because we have most of the rate increase that we're proposing is just to keep us steady from where we were. In 2012, that's our revenue and our expenditure stream. Our fund balance is still going in the wrong direction. But unfortunately, the rates are going up a lot more than that. We're proposing a $20 rate increase, and a lot of this is due to the fact that when Metro raised the rates last time, the city did not raise its rate to cover it. So about $13 is what the city had available to cover its expenditures. It effectively went down to $9 because Metro took the added money that we had in there to cover some of the city's expenses. So we went backwards with Metro, and we don't have much control over their rates when they decide they need to raise rates to operate their treatment plant. So when we looked at the budget, we realized we needed an increase from the $9 to, well, effectively $9.36 to $20. It's just a little over a $10 rate increase per customer on the residential side. The commercial rate is increased a little bit more, but it's prorated to the same rates as the water customers, because it's based upon water consumption on the commercial side, and it's a unit based on the residential side. Stormwater. The stormwater, we have a Department of Ecology permit which requires us to do a lot of things. The permit was first extended to the city in 2007. Every 5 years when they renew the permit, they put more regulations on the city, so we have more requirements to meet. They increase the amount of public education we have to do. Right now we have a Citizens Advisory Committee that we reinstituted last fall. We have illicit detection and elimination. This is going around, and when someone calls and says, something doesn't look right in the storm drains, we have to go out and investigate. There's requirements of paperwork and control that we have to do when we do that. So then we have follow-up reporting, we have some monitoring, and then we have the ongoing maintenance. Maintenance requirements have increased. Starting in 2013, we're required to inspect all of our catch basins within a 5-year period, which means we have to inspect 20% per year. We have approximately 800 catch basins throughout the city that are required to inspect. Some of these will have to be pumped out to complete the inspection because they have a buildup of sediment, and then we have the disposal of the waste that's included with that. We have increased some ditch cleaning activities, as well as I just discussed, the catch basin maintenance. We have a lot of additional education we have to do on staff to make sure that we remain in compliance with our ecology permits. Then we have some improvements that we've noted need to be made. These are just some small improvements, that we have some additional larger improvements that also must be made. We've got a grant from Ecology that's funding some design of some additional improvements, and then if in the event we have, then we'll be able to proceed with this design to try and get some grant monies, hopefully to fund the correlated construction improvements. So the current rate for stormwater is $10.71 per residential unit. We're proposing to raise that to $13. The approved commercial facility is at $5.71 per ERU. We're proposing to raise that to $5.75. On the commercial non-approved, we're proposing to raise that to 16. Normally, it has been parallel with the residential rate, but we're finding we have more inspection responsibility there to make sure that people are in compliance with keeping their yards and stuff up to speed on the commercial side. So that's why we proposed a little bit of a shift on that. The PETA rate is remained in place. You'll see that those are the revenues for 2012 and 2013, and then the ending fund balance. A portion of this ending fund balance is going to be used for, again, the construction projects we have ongoing on Valentine and Stewart, because they have stormwater associated with them that also needs to be repaired. So this is an overview of where the existing rates are and where we're proposing to take these rates. The average single-family residential customer rate is approximately $86.50, and it will go to about $100, so that's a $13.50 increase for the 3 utilities. The average commercial property will go from about $233 to $254. One of the things we look at is how do we compare it to some of our neighboring jurisdictions? Because people say, but they only charge this much over here, and they only charge that much over there. So Auburn charges more for sewer. Sumner charges a little less. The one advantage Sumner has is they operate their own wastewater treatment plant, so they do not have. They're able to absorb that a little bit differently than we are here. On the water rate, we're lower than Sumner. We're lower than everybody else for the average customer. On the stormwater rate, we're right in the middle of the mix. So there is what it was proposed when we put the budget together for 2014. Are there any questions? I'm going to take council first, and then I'll move to audience.
Any questions from council? Questions from the audience? And please come to the podium.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jean Fancher, 37248, 55th Avenue South. I'm wondering if the sewer rate is metered, or the sewer consumption, usage is metered in any way, or is it based?
Residential customers are based a flat fee. In fact, they're residential customers. Commercial customers are based upon their water consumption. It is assumed that basically what goes through the meter goes out into the sewer system. The exception is those who have landscaping meters, that is deducted, and they are not charged wastewater charges for irrigation water.
So there's a conservation incentive for water, but it won't be reflected in the sewer rate?
Correct, because again, the sewer rate is flat rate charge, because that is how Metro charges the city.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you have a question?
No.
Oh,
Just
I didn't want to miss it. Any other questions? Last call for questions. With that, we'll close this hearing, and we will open up our next hearing.
Point of order? Isn't there